Hello. I'm doing this vlog because I still haven't got any news to tell you. Nothing's set in stone, so it's really frustrating. But I've just realised that it's a week today, pretty much, that I became homeless for the first time. And for the first time I'm going to explain a little bit why it happened. Up until August 2015, I was living on a beautiful island in a beautiful house on the top of a hill. I met Paul. Paul was living in a forest. I was at the point of make or break financially because I worked part-time and I'd just set up a business online, and things were just teetering. You know, when a business is new, it can go either way. So it was just teetering, and he came to live with me and he started doing freelance work on his animation and things like that. But we were both just teetering, and then we found out that the only shop on the island was going to close, and that was also the post office, and I relied on it, and I worried that without that I wouldn't be able to post things out to people, and I'd have to keep catching ferries to post out. And so I made a decision that we'd be better off moving inland. We found a place which I can never say where it was because this is just awful, because I can never say where we went or what happened really. But long story short, I'm really diluting this down now. We ended up in a place where we were told we'd have the internet and a phone line. When we got there, we got neither. As a result of this, and the place was even more remote than the island itself, so there was nothing around, there was no work, there was nothing. And without the phone and an internet, I lost my shop, he lost his freelance work, and we lost our income completely. I ended up signing on as a single person, and we both lived off this money. But I had to contribute towards the rent, and I'm not going to go into it all, but it was just horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And as time went on, I became more and more homeless within that place we lived, because it was full of damp and things like that. And I ended up, before we left, sleeping on the floor. And I'm not lying, I would sleep on the floor and open the door and put my head out of the door and wrap up in a blanket because I was so poorly with the spores from the damp. And I just decided I'd had enough. My mental state went downhill very rapidly there. It wasn't the kind of place that I could thrive in. So I made a decision. I was actually at the time living off my mother, which is shameful, and it was awful. She was helping us with our rent because we just wasn't getting enough money. And I realised that things were not going to change. While we were there was not going to change. So I had to do something very drastic, and it's seen as being crazy. But I said, we're going to just go and live in the cars. We're just going to go and live in the cars. We had no income. We had the pittance we were getting was just not enough. So we went and lived in a car park, basically. And the problem with that is, because we'd made ourselves homeless, it meant to sign on, we had to go there every single day. And at the time, there was a psycho working there. And I wish I could name her as well. I think this woman has probably been responsible for a lot of issues for people, like suicidal thoughts, depression, all kinds of things, because she's sick, right? And I'm sick of this, people like this. But anyway, because of her and the stigma of being homeless and being so destitute, I couldn't sign on. So we had no income in the car park. and I did job searches every day, and I was writing my book, and I was trying to keep myself sane. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. We got noticed by the locals. People were starting to shine torches in the car. They were starting to stare at us and rev their engines and things like that. They were making a point of, they can see that we're there. So there was no empathy. There was no support. There was no nothing. You know, we were just basically treated like scum. And it was a shocking time. And it's a year ago today. And the reason I'm saying it now is because there are people all around me that are heading that way. And you know you are, some of you, and it upsets me. I don't want other people to go through what I went through, because I think the worst part of that journey, we ended up sleeping in the car for 6 weeks. And I think the worst part of it is the not knowing, when is it going to end? Is it going to end? What's next? Is anything going to happen? You know, it was the bleak. It was so despairing and depressing, and under the circumstances I did well mentally, but I could feel my mind capsize every day a little bit more, and I thought, at what point do you get to a point where you just give up? Now luckily for me, I'm too stubborn to give up, but I was teetering. So it's just I suppose it's, like I say, it's a year on. I'm a lot stronger than I was, but I was stronger then without realising. But I'm not homeless now. I'm houseless still. I'm still living in my little Father Ted. I've had to clean this thing up. What I've done is I've got rid of the bed because it was broken, and I've tidied it up and moved Paul out. It's not big enough for 2 people and 2 doggies, so I'm back on my own in here. And Paul has gone into another caravan. So yeah, I just want to let people know that there is always a way out. It's difficult, but I'm here if you're struggling, because I know what it does to your mind. And that's the most important thing, to keep strong, your mind. Because once you've lost that, you've lost it all. I am still teetering. And the crazy thing is about my situation is it can go one way or another. The good thing is I have now got solid ground, because no matter what happens, I've still got this job that I had last season, and we had other job offers as well. So there's always something. I want to tell you about the other stuff, but I can't yet. But things are solid for me right now. As long as I can keep my health, I can keep my job. If I can keep my job, I can keep living somewhere safe. But for anybody who's living out there in car parks, public land, and you're feeling scared and stuff, I just want you to know that I've been there. It's not easy. Try and get a support network around you. You won't get it from the housing. You won't get it from the people who claim they're there for the homeless, because I actually went into a shelter, a charity shop once, and said, please can I have a winter coat, because I lost all my clothes to the damp and they were just rotten and I had no winter coat. And they told me I had to buy it, and I told them I had no money, and they said, well, we're sorry, we're here for the homeless. And I said, but I am homeless. And the irony of this, you know, an homeless woman went into a homeless charity shop and said, please can I have a coat, and they told me to buy it so that my money could go and help the homeless. Now figure that out. You know, I have got a lot of anger in me about these shops and these charities that are supposedly there for the homeless people. I have got a big issue with this country and our homelessness problem. It makes me angry, and this is why I fight to get out of it and to get where I want to be, and it isn't homeless. And I will fight until I get what I want, and then I'm going to take people with me, and I'll make sure that somebody else is off the street, because I am sick of this country. I'm sick of how we treat our people. I don't mind. Do you know, this is another thing about me which is nuts. I can live in a gutter, in a carrier bag, if it's me. But I don't want you to do it, and I don't want to see somebody else do it, because it upsets me. My level of what I can take is a lot more than what I want you to take. I can't cope with seeing people suffering. But I don't mind suffering, because it's part of life, and it's something I learn and get something out of in the end, you know. But I'm just wittering again. But anyway, I'm going to go now. I just put this up because I realised it was a year since I lost everything, and down to liars and people not telling the truth about the place that you go and live in and stuff. And I'm tired of being used by people like that, and it won't happen to me again. And that's the end of it. It won't. So I'm not in a bad mood. I'm in a good mood. I'm going to go put my fire on and have a coffee. So that'll be 2 hours. Bye bye.